Kyrie, you guys talked about being more physical this game. Clearly you were. I wondered, as you look at this game and the way the playoffs are playing out with lower scores, more physical plays, do you feel like you guys are more equipped to play that style of basketball than maybe you were early in the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're prepared for this time of year. We've been practicing pretty hard against each other, consistently throughout the year. We obviously had some injuries, and we weren't able to kind of grow as a group as much as we would have liked. But I think towards the end of the season, we really took practice serious, and we knew what we were getting ready for in the playoffs, matchups potentially, and I think we have to use that to our advantage to a certain degree. We have our depth, but at the end of the day, we're going to need our best players out there to be able to consistently make the right decisions. And tonight was one of those nights for us where we figured it out throughout the four quarters. And once that third quarter and fourth quarter hit, I feel like our physicality warmed down a little bit, and we could just take some of those positive notes into next game. And I think it comes from the regular season preparation and also being well conditioned and pushing ourselves and knowing what we have left in the tank. So,
Kyrie, what stood out to you most about the performance on the defensive end tonight?
I think what stuck out to me most, just imagery-wise or memory-wise, was just we got a warning from one of the refs telling us that we were complaining too much. So I think once you hear that, it's a pretty physical game, and we're not a big complaining team. We're not a big complaining team. I think sometimes, obviously, emotions can, get a little high, but that's all part of it. And I think you kind of saw me out there and just trying to make sure that we kept our heads on straight, and we didn't allow that to affect us or impact us in a negative way. So it's a physical game both ways, and we know what to expect for the rest of the series. We're going against some potential Hall of Famers that play the game at a high level, and they know personnel very well. So you got to give them respect, but also you got to go at them, and that's a competitor's dream.
Yo, what's up, Kai? Hey, so when it comes to the playoffs so far, you see the officiating is much different. They're allowing you guys to play a little more. So do you have to tailor your game slight a bit differently since the game's not as free-flowing and things like that?
Yeah, that's the playoffs right there. And if you rewatch some of the 80s, 90s, early 2000s basketball series, you can see that the game slows down. Some of the great players, some of their PPG either goes up or it goes down. Their efficiency either goes up or go down depending on the series and who you're going against. You just got to be, ready for the unknown. All teams are going to throw different things at you. But when you're particularly in a series, you just got to be prepared to take advantage of your opportunities when you see them and be able to make the plays within the plays. And also, the hustle matters. Those 50-50 basketballs. And I think that we can look back at tonight and see that we had a lot of fast break opportunities where we turned the ball over and we didn't fully take advantage. So we left some points on the board. It's no time to feel down about it. We just know we have to be efficient, and that's what the playoffs is about, is just being efficient at the right time, making big shots at the right time, and trusting your game plan and not deviating.
Kai, what's up, man? I left the gym at what? I left to come here at 2 p.m. to get here at 3 because I knew you're going to be one of the first people out on the floor. Yeah. The work that you put in, man, like even with the finishes, left and right finishes. But one thing that really stuck out to me this summer, you were at a junior college working out with a lot of kids and hooping in there just as if you were going against superstars. Talk about the work, man, what that means, putting the work in, and then when nobody is watching and when the cameras aren't on, just putting in that work and also just being dedicated to that.
Yeah, I think failure will inspire you more than you can imagine. And not being able to make the playoffs last year definitely hurt, stung, brought a lot of pain. And the only way I, felt other than doing my prayer and meditation, but being able to express some of those emotions was going on the basketball court. I was right down the street at LA Tech, and some of my friends just being consistent with me throughout those days. I'm grateful for all those times them pushing me. I was watching playoff games and then going to the gym the next day and be like, man, we should have been in the freaking playoffs. So just imagining myself in different situations and pushing myself, in like early April, May. And I was staying consistent. And I think that helped enable me to be well conditioned coming into the season. and be able to flourish at the right time, put in the work, not for anybody else but myself and my family. And just reaping the rewards feels good, but also when you don't make shots, you also have to have that same mentality and continue to battle through. That's what this competitive level is about, is not losing your head through some of the mistakes that you make and continue to put in the work.
The game flipped in the midway through the fourth when your team scored 14 in a row. Can you tell us how you were able to change the game?
Yeah, we talked about it in the huddle, just what the fourth quarter meant, what we had to do, and we knew what adjustments they were making, and it was just about us making the right plays and feeling good about it and feeding each other confidence at the right time.
Hey, Kai. You've had co-stars of very varying temperaments, right? Some very mellow. Luka, obviously, much more emotional. What
We're all emotional. We're human.
Well.
But I hear you.
Some guys you've played with they're very chill on the court, and Luka is not. And Jason was saying earlier that he actually thinks he gets more focused after he gets teed up. He's joking he hadn't gotten a tee in a while. I wanted to make sure he could still do it. Yeah. But he was also really supportive of his teammates tonight emotionally, too. You could really see him going after guys and pumping them up. What is it like to be on the court with that, when he's hot and can't control himself, or when he's like he was tonight? What is that like to be on the court with?
Yeah, I've learned, obviously from playing with other co-stars, but specifically with Luka, it's just you got to trust him, and you got to let him be him and allow him to grow. He's very young still, very well accomplished, but I know his overall goal is to win a championship, and it's the same for me. So that's our focus. It's not so much about kind of our emotions and our reactions, just settling.
Does he give guys energy?
Yeah, absolutely. He's an incredible leader next to me, and we do it with others around us too, and we empower each other to have that voice. And when he's emotional, he's honest, and I appreciate that. I'd rather be out there with someone that's emotional and wants to do better for themselves and for the team than someone that's quiet or just allowing things to happen and kind of depending on everybody else to step in. He's one of those type leaders where he just wants to come in, make his presence be felt, and sometimes when he gets text, you just got to live with it and move on. And that's where we are, man. It's the playoffs, and those little things you just got to kind of bury and move on. We got better.
Hey, Guy. I know you talked about the Clippers having future Hall of Famers, but one in particular, James Harden, who you had to battle against tonight. What is the process of preparing for a guard like James Harden and other guards that if they get hot, they could take over a game?
Yeah, you just got to be smart with your approach to what you watch on film, because James capable of going for 30 any night, but he obviously is playing with Paul George and Kawhi, so it's a different dynamic, and I think tonight showed that. So, last game he has 28 points, 20 points going into halftime. It's a different pace, it's a different rhythm. He's playing with a different flow, so you just got to be aware of when you get those opportunities to guard him. Just weigh on them a little bit and make it tough, make it as tough as possible. Yeah.
Hi, Kai. Ashton from Swish Cultures. Seeing you work out 30 minutes prior, I saw you doing look-offs and working on every variation of your game. Can you talk about how everything you do is super intentional and how it prepares you for matchups like this?
Yeah, absolutely. The imagination that I have has empowered me to be able to work on my craft in different ways, and remaining consistent has been able to make me successful, but the fun nuances of working on your game when you're missing shots in pregame and, those look-offs are just imaginary defenders to me, and just going against an array of defenders, you never know what you're going to see. I had Paul George tonight, I had Terrence Mann, I had Norman Powell for a little bit, I had Russell Westbrook, so it's just more or less finding my spots on the floor that I want to attack and being able to work on them at a very kind of middle ground intensity. I don't want to go high intense, but I know that I have to be intentional with making shots, and then also knowing that sometimes my footwork's going to be a little off, or I'm going to miss shots. So I try not to get mentally bogged down and just prepare for what's coming. I'm going to make or miss shots, but when those shots are right on line, my feet are right, it doesn't matter who's there, and I get a good look, then it's going in. So it's just that confidence building. Appreciate you asking that.
Kawhi's obviously working his way back from an injury. And I'm curious, he's considered one of the playoff risers. What did you see out of him today, and what's kind of the challenge going to be as he kind of works his way into the shape that he wants to be and the game shape that he wants to be?
One of the hardest things to do, as any professional athlete, is to sit for a month or 3 weeks and then come back into a playoff game or a high-intense game and play well at that. So I think tonight he showed flashes of his brilliance, of what we know Kawhi to be, and we just got to be aware of how much of a different impact he can make on the game. And when he gets it going and he gets in that rhythm, we just got to be ready to defend him. That's really, it's a great player.
Thank you. Of course. Guys, get home safely.